Good evening, everyone. Is anyone here for the first time, or has everybody here been here before? It looks like everybody's been here. Well, welcome to everyone who's here tonight. My name is Tom. I'm one of the volunteers here, and I have a few announcements, as you know, before we get started with the teaching. Just a reminder, if you haven't already silenced your cell phones, please do so at this time so that we don't get distracted by that. We invite you to join us for our weekly Tuesday events with Medicine Buddha practice at 6 p.m. and public talk at 7 p.m. like tonight. Geshe Phende on the Tuesday evenings has been going through the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva with training in ultimate Bodhicitta. So tonight will be the next in that series, and then next week we're still in that series. Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., the Drepung and Loseling monks conduct evening prayers for His Holiness the Dalai Lama's long life and other teachers. On Thursday at 4:30 p.m., the Loseling monks conduct a protector puja for smooth journeys, success of interviews, and medical treatments, new businesses, etc. Excuse me. Deepen your practice with the intermediate series led by Geshe Phende starting Saturday, July 25th on Zoom. Held once a month through November, this course explores essential Mahayana Buddhist teachings and meditations. The series is designed for those who have already completed our Foundations series. As a reminder, don't park on the grass. I don't think people have been doing that for a while, but we just want to continue to remind people not to park on the grass behind the building here, and if the lot is full, the overflow parking is at Skyland at John Lewis Elementary School. Skyland is this first light right up here as you go that direction. And then you can walk through to here, especially on Sundays. That lot usually is full in the back. Information on all events can be found in the lobby and on our website at drepung.org. So two more little things. If anyone is interested in volunteer opportunities to get more involved or supporting our center and programs, you can see me or Michael DeFell, who is our volunteer coordinator. If you're interested in becoming a member to support our ongoing programs and take advantage of benefits like discounts on courses and retreats, applications are available in the library, and you can also register online. And finally, there is a donation box near the entrance of this room, and your generous support helps us continue to offer programs and services like this to our Atlanta community and to those around the world through our online platforms. So thank you for your patience during what I'm sure you've heard most of that before. But if you now will please stand as we invite our resident teacher, Geshe Phende, to come in for today's practice.
Okay, now first we're going to recite the mantra of Heart Sutra. Tayata gati gati paragati parasangati bodhisoha 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 tayata gati gati paragati parasangati bodhisoha. Next, for immeasurables. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachments and hatred. Next mandala. Oi sai shi pi ji joy shi ai me to tahama ri rava le shi nye ai de ge pa ti Sanje Shinto Mi dai shi la chö pa sho idam guru ratna mentala kamniya taya. So today is practice number 22. Chitanawa tini rangi sem ni tuene trebe tatantel tini shene sunzin temanam yila meche kese lagleyins. Whatever appears is your own mind. Your mind from the start was free from fabricated extremes. Understanding this, do not take to mind inherent signs of subject and objects. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So, practice number 22 is the ultimate Bodhicitta. So, mentioned last time, the text, the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, the main essence of the subject of this text is conventional Bodhicitta and ultimate Bodhicitta. The Bodhicitta has two, conventional Bodhicitta and ultimate Bodhicitta. So the conventional Bodhicitta, this part is finished now. So now the stanza, the practice number 22 is starting now, ultimate Bodhicitta, right? So the ultimate Bodhicitta, which means wisdom, right? Wisdom, who understanding the ultimate truth, right? Called wisdom of emptiness, is the ultimate Bodhicitta. So the Mahayana Buddhist, the essence of the practice is this true Bodhicitta, conventional and ultimate Bodhicitta. It's the essence of practice of Mahayana. The reason is the general, all the sufferings are caused by your negative karma and your mental afflictions, right? All the sufferings, the fundamental causes is your mental afflictions and negative karmas. Negative karma accumulated or created by mental afflictions, right? Negative emotions. So, negative emotion, the mental affliction, there are hundreds of variety aspects of the mental affliction. All of these mental affliction, their main causes, right? The root causes is self-centered and self-grasping. So there are two kind of the what you call ignorance or destructive emotion, which is called self-centered, selfish mind, and self-grasping, right? Mind of self-grasping or ego-grasping, right? So these are the two, the main causes of all your mental affliction, right? And your mental afflictions are the one who creates all the contaminated karmas, negative karmas. Negative karmas are the one who create all the samsara, the sufferings, right? That's what you call, that is how first we should understanding, the Buddha first, when he teach, it's called the Four Noble Truth. But at that time, he introduced all this suffering coming from where, right? Where the suffering coming from? the Four Noble Truths, right? They're talking about, among the Four Noble, they explain suffering, truth of suffering. So these truth of suffing coming from where? Truth of origin of suffering, Second Noble Truth, right? So when he introduced the truth of origin of suffering or truth of causes of suffering, he talked about mental afflictions and negative karmas, right? Then now you go more detail. These negative karma coming from where? Mental affliction. Those mental afflictions comes from where? Right? When you go much detail, then it's ended up to the two root causes, self-centered and self-grasping. Right? These are the two. So in order to overcome self-centered attitude, Buddha teach Bodhicitta, conventional Bodhicitta, right? Conventional Bodhicitta is based on compassion and love to entire sentient beings, right? So that's the conventional Bodhicitta, which is, according to Mahayana Buddhism, it's called method aspect of the Mahayana practice, right? Bodhicitta, compassion, or love, loving kindness, all of these practice. So these are the practice which help us to overcome self-centered attitude, right? Now, next here, mind of self-grasping. This is more difficult to overcome. This is the fundamental causes, mind of self-grasping. It's only, I think even non-Buddhist philosophers, right, the teachers, being, discover anger, attachment, jealousy are the negative emotion. These can create suffering. They can talk about this. But the detail, all of these mental afflictions, right, originated from where? Right? Where they're coming from? Self-grasping, which is the only Buddha Shakyamuni. He's the first, the master, the teacher who discovered it, who talk about that. Rest of the other tradition will never talk about this mind of self-grasping. This is a very unique Buddhist teaching. Buddhists are the one only talk about this philosophy. Mind of self-grasping is the root causes of all your mental afflictions. That is why, when they introduce samsara, right, when they introduced the samsara, they ended up the three root causes: attachment, anger, and ignorance, right? So when there comes to these three root causes are also coming from mainly from ignorance, right? So the ignorance, when they introduce the ignorance, the main ignorance is mind of self-grasping. That's the fundamental, ignorance. So, and this is very, very difficult to understand, this mind of self-grasping. And not only that, it's very hard to know mind of self-grasping is the root causes of anger, attachment, jealousy, and so forth, called mental affliction. It's not easy to understand this. So it can take a time, furthermore study, research, then eventually you may understand that. So the mind of ego grasping, in order to overcome that mind of ego grasping, Buddha taught ultimate bodhicitta, right? That's today going to talk about. So the ultimate bodhicitta is the one who the practice helps you to overcome your mind of self-grasping, right? Which is the fundamental causes of all your mental afflictions. From the Buddhist perspective, which we call ordinary beings, right? We are circle in samsara, right? We circle in samsara by whom? By mind of self-grasping. So the mind of self-grasping is the fundamental causes of circling into samsara. That's how we circle. So therefore, in order to overcome mind of self-grasping, we need to cultivate ultimate bodhicitta. So therefore, the ultimate bodhicitta is a very important practice. One of the, I think, the essential practice of Buddhist. One of the essential practice is the ultimate bodhicitta. So now, what is the ultimate bodhicitta, right? I mentioned earlier, it's the wisdom who understanding the ultimate truth. So wisdom, another word, wisdom who understand, who cognize, or who experience the ultimate truth, which is emptiness, right? Emptiness, which means empty of inherent existence. Emptiness means dependent origination, interdependence, interconnected. So that philosophy. So now, what's mean by inherent existence, right? What's really mean by inherent existence? So this philosophy, it's very hard to understand. That is why, in order to understanding this philosophy called emptiness, Buddha taught variety aspect, the variety school aspects of the philosophy. That's why Buddhism, Buddhist philosophical school, they divide it into 4 different schools, right? That's how the Buddhists we have 4 different schools, philosophical school, or which is we call 4 different tenets, right? So these 4 different tenets divided by this philosophical emptiness. That's why each school explanation of emptiness is differences, not the same. Because it's very difficult to understand. That is why first go grosser level of explanation, emptiness. Then you go more subtle. Another word, more deeper level, much deeper level. That is why the 4 schools. So the 4 schools, which are the first, is called the Vaibhashika school, Vaibhashika. So the Vaibhashika, which means great exposition school, right? Great exposition school. So this is one of the lowest Buddhist tenet, Buddhist school, called Great Exposition School. Then second school called Swatantika, which means Sutra school. Sutra. It's a little bit higher than Great Exposition School. It's the second, kind of the great tenets. Then the next school called Chittamatra or Yogacara in Sanskrit, which means mind-only school, right? So the higher than these two schools, third tenets. Then the last one, which is called Madhyamika school. Madhyamika, which means middle way school, is the highest Buddhist school, middle way. So these four schools, when they explaining or when they introduce the ultimate truth, it's little differences. Two lower schools are the same way. Within there, there's slightly small things they have, kind of different philosophy they believe, but the fundamental ultimate truth, they're all, both of them talking the same things. And the mind-only school, it's a little bit higher, and then middle way school is the highest school. So the first two school, Great Exposition, and the Sutra school, which is in the Buddhist we usually call two lower school. They are called the lower school. Mind-only school and the middle way school, there are two, called Yogacara and Madhyamika school, is called higher school or upper school, right? Two lower school, two upper school. Lower and upper, it's distinguished by where they introduce the ultimate truth. So the two lower school, when they talk about emptiness, ultimate reality, they're only able to introduce from the perception side, not the object side, right? There are things too, object and subject, right? Person is the subject. Object is the way we're going to use it, right? So it's a user and a used, right? Or perceived and the perceivers, the two things, right? Perceived, that means the objects is the perceived. Perceiver is the subject, right? So two lower school, when they introduce the ultimate reality, they only talk on perceiver side, subject side, not the object side. Object side, they're not going to introduce anything about the ultimate truth. Mind only in middle way school to higher school, when they introduce ultimate truth, they introduce both subject ultimate truths and the object side of the ultimate truth. Both they can able to introduce that. That's why it's called upper school, right? It's clear, right? It's clear. So now here, specific the word here we're going to use today, the topic. Whatever appear is your own mind, that first line. Whatever appear, right? The object, whatever external objects appear, it's all projected by your mind, right? That means that. So, main point is this line, when the scholars, what you call, explain this word, there are two different ways. Some scholars, from their perspective, whatever appear is your own mind, that first line, one part of the scholars, explain, it shows mind-only school's view. It's explained the mind-only school's view. Reason is, they say whatever appears, right? Whatever appear to your mind, any objects appear, it's all projected by your mind, right? For instance, when you look into this flower, right? The flower appear to your mind, right? The flower appear to your eye sense consciousness, right? So your seeing of the flower, so you see this flower very attractive. If you see very attractive, what is going to do? It creates your attachment, right? We feel attached to this flower. If this flower appear to your mind very unattractive, if they appear to very unattractive aspects, what is going to create you? It may create anger, hatreds, right? Another emotion. So that appearance, either attractive, either unattractive, that object appear to your mind, that object itself is projected by your mind. It's not externally exist there. So that's the mind-only school's philosophy. Believed emptiness, ultimate truth. From the mind-only school's perspective, ultimate truth, emptiness, which means empty of external existence, right? Externally existence. Right now, everybody, when we see, we always think flower is there, right? Oh, there is a beautiful flower there. So it appears to you beautifully. We attach. That's how we attach. Because for us, it appear flower is externally there, right? Solid externally exist. So that's why it brings you something externally there. Therefore, either attractive, unattractive, whatever appear, it creates you variety aspect of the emotion, anger, attachment, all these emotions. But the mind-only schools believed this flower, what you're seeing, the flower, is not there in externally. It's not externally exist. It's created by your mind, right? It's projected by your mind. So that means that appearance of the object is nothing out there. It's your mental. Your mind is the one who projects it, right? So the imprints, when they store into your mind all the imprints, when the circumstance arises, your mind, right, projecting variety objects. That's how you see, you're hearing. So your seeing of the flower, nobody will see that, right? I'm talking right now the mind-only school's perspective. What you see, your seeing of flower, other nobody can see this. This is called unique object. It's only the perceiver, yourself, you are the one only can see. Nobody will see that. That's why here you can leave it flower, and 20 people look in these flowers, right? Everybody see the flower, yes, but each individual can see their own appearance of the flower. My seeing of flower, none of you can see, right? Your seeing of flower, we cannot see that. That is why when you 20 people look into this flower, there are 20 different aspects of the flower appear. So therefore, some people are seeing beautiful. Some people may see flowers ugly. Some people may see, not beautiful, not ugly, it's neutrals, right? Variety aspects. So that's how they never agree. Doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean everybody going to be like it this, right? Each individual has seeing their own flower. From the Buddhist perspective, specific the mind only, we believe being is not only human beings, right? There are many formless beings are there, spirit realms of the beings, right? Or human beings, or God realm beings, right? There are many. So when you put one cup of the water on your table, these three different beings seeing this water three different ways. From the lower realms beings seeing this water as a bloody, right? Very ugly. For the human beings, just simple water. For the God realm beings seeing this as a nectars. So when they utilize human being, we just taste as a normal water, right? For the lower realm beings, they taste spirit beings. They taste as a bloody, right? Bloods. For the God realm beings, when they taste as a nectars. So these three different aspects, they taste it differently. That means there's something exists. All of these three are exist, right? But these three are exist. It's not externally there. It's each individual's mental projection. So you have a mind who can only able to utilize as a water. So for you, just seeing as a water, just experience as a water, right? So sometime some people, just simple bread and the tea, when they give them, they feel very tasty. They really enjoy that bread and tea only. Some people, when you give this bread and tea, the taste disgust. They don't like at all. Same bread and tea, certain people, very delicious. Certain people, very, disgust taste, right? Don't like it. So in these breads and tea, each individual's mind, when they experiences, they have their own way. What you experience, others not going to be experienced that. That is why your seeing of flower, right? Where is it? Is it out there, or it's something projected by your mind? That's how they're investigating. Because if something exists, because it's functioning, right? It's functioning. It's something working there. I can taste it. I can smell it. There's something there. So if that exists, where is it? Is it on the table outside there, or something inside in your mind? Where is it? If it exists outside on the table, there's 20 people seeing this flower. There are 20 different flowers, right? My seeing of flower, each of your seeing of flower, if they exist externally there, they have to have in there on the table. On the table, there's only one flower, right? There's no 20 difference there. So each of those 20 different flowers, where is it? So investigating. So you cannot find it from if there exists externally, then they have to have there 20 different here. And that there's nothing, there's only one. So you cannot say it does not exist, because it's functioning, right? It's working, it's functioning. So where is it? How does that exist? That's why the mind-only school is saying, all of these are your mental projection. They are not exist externally. That's called the ultimate, the real ultimate reality. The true existence of these flowers are empty of external existence. Still, as ordinary people, we still appear there exist externally. That's called wrong perception. We still grasping flowers externally exist. That's called mind of self-grasping. That create anger, attachment, jealousy, all of the rest of the destructive emotion. Because of that, we believe everything solid and externally there, right? That is why attractive, unattractive, you like, you don't like, that's all the variety emotion arising. If you know things not externally there, that doesn't mean they are not exist. They exist, but they are not exist externally. They are just projected by your mind, mental projection, right? So knowing that ultimate truth helps you to control all these destructive emotions, which we have. That's why here the first line, whatever appears is your own mind. It's your own mind projected. There's nothing from the externally. So through understanding on that means if you don't like it, something, right, you shouldn't be just go there and do something here. Change your projector. Your projector is the one who projection these things. Change your projectors. When you change your projector, then object will change, right? For instance, when you look into the snow mountains, right? So when you wear the brown color of the sunglasses, right? Through that, when you look at snow mountain, you're seeing the brown color snow mountain, right? Brown color. You cannot complain, say, oh, I don't see this white. So how much you paint white there, you cannot see the white there. You always see brown. Because that projector has the brown color glasses. If you don't take out these glasses, you will still see brown color. You cannot see this, right? So similarly, all these attractive, unattractive objects appear to your mind. It's your mental projection. So if you do not like it, change your projector, the mind, change it. That whatever they projected, object will be changed, right? That's the mind-only schools. So that's why it's called whatever appears is your own mind. So everything's projected by your mind. Even understanding the mind-only schools philosophy really help us to control your destructive emotion, or understanding, how much we have wrong perception, how strong our mind is polluted by the ignorance, right? So how much we have misperceptions. So that even that helps you. So the mind-only schools philosophy, it's very interesting philosophy. It's just simple. I explained that you can go further more research on even just only the mind-only schools philosophy. It can really very deep kind of the philosophy, very deep information they have. It can really wake up you from this ignorance, many things that you're really understanding your mind. It's how important most of this mistake, most of the problem, the pain which we have is coming from our mind, mental perception, way we perceiving, how we perceived. That's why creating these problems. So when you change that perception, many problems definitely, we can change it. So it's showing there's anything from the externally, right? Everything's empty of external existence. That means everything's projected by your own mind. That means how difficult you are in ordinary life. Today, how difficult life you are living. All of these problems, you can really fix it, change it, when you really twist your mind, look from different perspective. All this big issue, the big problem eventually comes nothing that much. It's not big deal. So that's how the mind training change, look, make your one's own mind very rich thinker, very critical thinker, very deeper. When you think, when you're understanding more, it gives you more opportunities, to train your mind, to change your mind. And that brings you more happier, more peaceful, right? For the Buddhist practitioner, it's mainly to achieve the ultimate happiness, right? Liberation, enlightenment, through understanding this philosophy, right? Then another perspective, which is, another scholars, this first line, whatever appear is your own mind. That means any object, right? Any objects, the perceived, what you call the object of perceived, right? Object of your perceived, whatever objects are, what you call, appear is your own mind. Means it's just label imputed by your mind. That means all these objects are not only empty of externally, they're talking about empty of inherent existence. It's going much deeper philosophy. Empty of externally existence means it's not externally there, but still exists, and I can still pinpoint, I can still grab it. But here, empty of inherent means the flower, right? The flower which we're seeing here, it's when you investigate to try to find it, you cannot find anything from the object side. There's nothing, anything from the object side. Like for instance, you can take one flower, right? Let's just take one flower here. You can say, this is the flower, right? So we see this flower there, and it's functioning. It gives you smell, all kinds of things. It's functioning. That means this flower exists, right? I can touch it. I can smell it, right? I can see. That's showing flower exists? Yes, it exists. No doubt. No question. Now, where is it? Can you find the flower from the object side or not? If you find from the object side, right, that means flower exists inherently, right? So, where is it? Now they're investigating. Detail. If the flower from the object side, then you look at, okay, where is it? You can take it out, each the petals, right? There are almost hundreds of the petals there, right? These petals. So each of these petals is not the flower, right? The flower which we're looking. Each of these petals are not the flower, right? So when you take it like one petal here, right? One petal here, can you ask, is the flower? We say no, right? This is not that flower. This is the petal of the flower, not the flower which we are looking, right? So each of these petals is not the flower. So without each of these petals, there's no flower, right? So where is the flower? When you try to pinpoint the flower, really you cannot find it. take it out, each of these petals, put it separately, try to pinpoint. You cannot find anything from there. You cannot find. So without investigate, just when you look at, yes, flower exists, yes, flower exists. It's functioning there. But go there to find it from there. If this exists from there, from the object side inherently, then when we investigate, when we go there, we have to find it like a pointable. This is the flowers. We have to point at something. When you look at to try to pinpoint, cannot pointable, findable from the object side. That's called empty of inherently existence. Exists? Yes, exists. But do this flower exist inherently, independently? Means, if flower exists inherently, independently, that means when you investigate from the object side, you have to find it. You have to pointable. Yes, this is flower. Something pointable, findable from the object side. You cannot find there. To try to go from the object side, cannot find anything from the object side. Right? That's why in this middle way school, saying is the true reality of flower is not exist independently, inherently. It's nothing from there, from its own, but there still exists because it's functioning, right? It's functioning. So now, how does that exist? It's nothing from the object side, it's nothing from inherently. How does that exist, right? It exists labeling, means designated, right? Designated by your thoughts, our mind. Mind label on the group of those petals, collections of the petals, right? You label as a flower. That's all. You go there, you cannot find. For instance, you look at other side of the mountain, say, oh, there's a forest, jungle, right? You try to pinpoint, this is jungle, go to each of those trees. It's not the forest, right? This tree is not forest, that tree is not forest. Go each of these trees, it's not the forest, right? Do forests exist? Yes, it exists. We're hiking, right? We're hiking in the forest, we go there, so there's something there. So now where is it? To try to pinpoint, you cannot find there. So only the way of existence is the collections of all these trees. We just label it as a forest, and its function as a forest, right? And that's how it is. There's nothing, anything from the object side, cannot find it. So everything is labeling, designated, right? Imputed by one's mind. That's why it's called whatever appears is your own mind. Our mind is whole labeling. Reality thinks nothing from the object side. That's the middle way school's explanation. Right? Little bit differences. Mind only in middle way. Right? So, whatever appears is your own mind. Your minds will just label, designate, and impute it. For instance, when the newborn baby, right? She born it, parents label as a John. So this baby become a John now, right? So try to find John from the baby side, you cannot find it. This baby's body is not the John, eye is not the John, ear is not the John. Look at from each part of the body, each part of the baby minds, baby try to find it, pinpoint where is the John, you cannot find it, right? So it is collections of the aggregates, bodies and variety types of the minds, the collections of that, the shape of the body, all this collection, parents just label, designate it as a John. That's why he become a John now. John, baby John, right? That's how it is. All the phenomena is like same like that. Every objects are just labeling imputed by one's mind. Nothing, anything from its own. Nothing exists from its own. Right? That's why they're saying whatever appears is your own mind. But the ordinary people, we don't see these things. We believe everything's there, solid. Everything's right, solid there. So all our emotion today we have, because of we believing everything exists independently, solid, absolute from the object side. That's called mind of self-grasping. That mind of self-grasping creates all the variety aspect of the emotions. And these emotions create us all our actions, right? Decisions. That's called the karma. That's how we circle in samsara. So the reality is there's nothing, anything from its own. Everything exists interconnected, interdependence, right? Labels imputed by names and thoughts of your mind. Nothing, anything from the object side. But everything exists because it's functioning. Where the existence is, exists dependently, interdependency. Right? Nothing from the object side. That's why it's called whatever appears is your own mind. It's everything's. There's nothing from the externally independently. Then second line, your mind from the start was free from fabricated extremes. So there are there are two different ways of kind of the explanation. One which means your mind is also, the mind itself is also empty of inherent existence. Right? That mind, also when you investigate, you cannot find the mind also. The ultimate nature of mind is also empty. So called the, what you call mind emptiness, right? So it's mind empty of inherently existence is not created by causes condition. It's just by nature, right? That's why it's called, its start was free from fabricated. It started as soon as when the mind exists, it's naturally empty of inherently, right? So it's naturally, it's not created by causes condition. Mind emptiness is not created by causes condition. It's by nature, natural, right? It started from beginningless, right? So started was free. Also the another word is our nature of our mind is pure, right? Nature of human mind is very pure. So distracted emotion, mind of self-grasping, all of this distracted emotion which we have is temporary. It's temporarily polluted. But our nature of our mind is very pure and clean, like a sky. Nature of sky is very pure and clean, right? The clouds temporarily comes and create all the storms and all kinds of things. But the nature of sky itself is pure and clean. Similarly, nature of all the minds are pure and clean. That's why your mind from started was free. It's not that free doesn't mean first it's polluted, after you clean it. It's not. It started naturally, right? So nature of the mind is being pure from started, from natural. It's not first impure, then second become a pure. So the nature of our mind is pure, the free from fabricated extremes, which means the free from self-grasping. Fabricated extreme is the self-grasping. So the free from self-grasping is nature. If mind, what you call distracted emotions are engaged to the nature of your mind, then your mind cannot clean it, right? It's the nature of the mind is polluted. If the nature of the mind is polluted, how can you clean? It's already nature, the mind of this impure. You cannot make it clean. So that's showing the nature of mind is very pure. That is why your self-grasping, your anger, attachment, all of these are just temporary. It just, condition arises, these emotions arise. It disturbs us. But these are not engaged to the nature of our mind. Therefore, these are separable. You can purify, you can separate them, right? So that's why your mind from the start was free from fabricated extremes. Understanding these, do not take to mind inherent sound of subject and object. So, understanding of the ultimate nature of the object and subject both, right? When you're understanding the ultimate nature of the object, which is one's own mind, object is the object, or subject, which is one's own mind. The nature, emptiness of your mind, emptiness of the object, perceived and perceiver, right? Both of them. So ultimate nature, understanding the ultimate nature of perceived and perceiver, right? Understanding on this, do not take the mind inherent sound of subject and objects. So inherent sound of the subjects and the objects. So you cannot grasp, right? Inherently, grasping on inherently subject and object through understanding, which means through understanding ultimate nature of object and subject, you can overcome your mind of self-grasping on subject and object. And this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So which means through understanding the ultimate truth, the wisdom of emptiness, you can overcome your mind of self-grasping on object and subjects, right? So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So now this is just simple explanation of this stanza, right? Now the question is, how should you prove that things not exist independently, inherently, right? How should one understand this emptiness? Why this emptiness is very important for Buddhist practitioner? Why these are very important? These are all very, very important for specific for the serious practitioner. The reason I mentioned earlier, our main goal for all the Buddhist practice, our main target is one's own mental affliction, right? You can go detail, afflictive obscuration, cognitive obscurations. And both of these, afflictive, which means mental affliction, anger, attachment, all kind of things, right? Cognitive, which means the imprints of these mental afflictions. These are the two main causes of suffering. So all this suffering because of these obstacles. And these obstacles, not somebody else, it's your mental affliction. your afflictive obscuration and cognitive obscurations are the one, right? Create you suffer, right? Your suffering come from there. And this mental affliction, this obstacle, you are the only the person can change. Nobody will change for you, right? That's why Buddha says you are your own master, right? So you are your own master, which means you are the one can liberate yourself. You are the one can overcome all these mental afflictions. So because of that reason, so in order to overcome this mental affliction, then Buddha himself, after the Buddha, many Buddhist scholars, right, many of them, from centuries, they've been study, research, right, experiment, meditation, to find it out. They go so precise, each of these mental afflictions coming from where, what kind of connection they have. So one causes they found it commonly mind of self-grasping, right? That's I mentioned earlier. Mind of self-grasping is the basic kind of this is like a ground to create rest of all this mental affliction coming from there. So now as a Buddhist or as a practitioner, first, this is very important to know. Do you really understand your mind of ego grasping or self-grasping is the one who creates you anger, attachment, jealousy, arrogance, all this destructive emotion? Do you really understand or not? Right? If you not that much understand on that, that means your practice will not that much helps you to overcome suffering. Means you cannot apply your practice for overcome your mind of self-grasping because you still not knowing your mind of self-grasping is the main causes. If you do not have that knowledge, you may still not having wish to get rid of this mind of self-grasping, right? So you can question yourself, do you really feel wish to overcome your self-grasping or not? Right? If you do not have desire to overcome your mind of self-grasping, then how can you apply the practice to antidote that? Because antidote means you have really concern to your mind of self-grasping. You have fear. You really don't like it. You have really feel wish to change. That's why you adopting the practice, right, to get rid of this. So to have that, first you need to understanding what is the mind of self-grasping. That only first. What does that really means? I'm right now talking about the middle way school, right? Middle way school. So one of our main teacher of this middle way school is Nagarjuna, around 2nd century, right? It's from South India. So Nagarjuna has number of texts, but one of the most important texts, which is called Fundamental Wisdom, which has 27 chapters, really good, right? So study and thinking. So the main thing is, first, mind of self-grasping. Do you really understand that? Do you really know that? That's the first thing. That means your first step in there. So that is why, in order to understand that, inherently existence, independent existence, right? What that really means. Because sometimes we may know as a word inherently, independently, by word, but maybe real, we still do not know what that means. Knowing word doesn't mean it's know that, right? You're just knowing word as a word, just name. That doesn't mean it knows that. So that is why, first, inherently existence. So in order to understand the inherently existence, maybe it's good to understand first what's mean by everything's just label by names and thought. What that really means, right? Right now we use quite oftenly, the second line when we say your minds from the started, whatever appears is your own mind, right? When they explain that in middle way school's perspective, means everything is label, right? Designated by names. So what that mean? You say this is flower, right? When you say flower, means these things there, this yellow color and all these shapes there, we label flower, right? When you use the word flower, means you named it flower on that objects by word, right? Flower. But when you see these things, this object, when you see it in your mind, instantly say, flower is there, right? When you see this guy, he's sitting on that chair, you see that, oh, this guy is there, right? Our mind is already thinking. This is flower. This is John. This is Bell. When your mind is thinking that way, that moment it is saying your mind is labeling bell on these things. You call the bell. Your mind is labeling flower on these yellow things there. That's called label, imputed. Now when we say merely label, right? Merely designated, what that mean? Merely designated means it's nothing from there at all, right? It just named it. Just you call them. That means nothing from the object side. That's called merely designated. So now do we see that way? Not. We seeing flower means there, right? We never think, oh, I just label it. Is a flower there, right? That means inherently existence. Things from there, inherent existence. Grasping inherently means you believing, you grasping things from there. We never think this, I just label it, impute it. It's there, I can grab it, right? So now you have to go more detail. That's how you need to exercise first, again and again, to make really clear understand that. Then when we meditate on emptiness, it's much better, right? Just first understanding the mind of self grasping what they grasp, what that really means, independent existence. In order to know that, then next, what that means, just label, imputed by names, thoughts, right, minds, what that really means, I mentioned earlier. Then next step, right, emptiness. Then it goes much better way. Much better means what you're meditating, it's something applied to your experience. It's something to apply to your misperception. Otherwise, we just meditate, emptiness is something there, but it's here, nothing any changing, nothing any affected. Therefore, the recognizing the object of negation, the Lama Tsongkhapa's You see the statue here? This master, when he introduced the emptiness, he was always first telling us, first you should understand the object of negation, right? Emptiness means empty of what? What you negating? First you need to understand on that, right? Therefore, this object of negation is not just theory perspective. It's your own, do you really grasping that object of negation? How are you grasping? What does that really mean? That's why this practice really, if you understand on that, it really helps you. So that's today, and then next few weeks we have still the same philosophy, the emptiness, and then we apply to deal with the attachment, angers, from the Bodhicitta perspective. Love and compassion practice, how can deal with attachment and anger through the method aspect. We finish it, right? Actual Bodhicitta practice, love and compassion, and then after Bodhicitta, your day-to-day life, how to use your Bodhicitta, your love and compassion to deal with your anger, attachment, all this we finished. Now here, ultimate Bodhicitta. So first, what is that wisdom of emptiness? Understanding. Then next, your wisdom of emptiness. Now, how should you apply to overcome your anger, attachments, right? These destructive emotions. So it comes later. So these few classes are very, very important. Emptiness meditation, these few classes, really, really important. It's when you listen more, you're thinking more, again, maybe after years and years, then something connected or something you knowing. Just few classes you take it, of course, you're not going to understand that, right? You may understanding the words, but the real understanding means you have to hear these things again. Same time, you have to investigate, think, contemplate again and again. So that is how you may getting closer to the ultimate truth. So that's why these few classes are really important. Okay, so we're going to stop here now, the conclusion. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme hum. And thus, Honorable Compassionate Gurus, we seek your blessings that all karmic debts, obstacles, and sufferings of mother beings may without exception ripen upon us right now, and that we may give our happiness and virtues to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. And thus, Honorable Compassionate Gurus, we seek your blessings that all karmic debts, obstacles, and sufferings of mother beings may without exception ripen upon us right now, and that we may give our happiness and virtues to others, and thereby invest all beings in bliss. Oi te ai nai chi chu, lai mai tu chi, che ai mai ju, doi ve ti ti, doi nge. Lue ta ta da lai mi pa ta da ji ai ti ge shen la ta wa yi trôi quy yên đề ta đề ba chi chi lôi trôi quy đề ta đề ba chi chi lô chan chu sim cho rin bo che ma che pa nam che jo che pa nyam pa me pa yang kong ne kong do pe wa sho. May the precious and sublime Bodhicitta not yet born be born, and that which has been born not decline but increase forever. Okay, thank you.